Another day in the Big Brother house. This is probably going to be a quickie because it's late. And even though the HOH is still talking, I can only listen to the new HOH talk for so long before it gets very annoying. But before we get to the new HOH, let's talk a little about the new twist. Personally, I really hate America vote twists on Big Brother because it never goes well. I don't vote, so just say it out. I ain't voting for anybody. I'll leave it up to this fucking ridiculous fan base. People going out of their way to campaign for their favorites, doing ridiculous things. I think Derek X is definitely going to be in the 100s. He seems to be the favorite on all platforms that I saw. I looked at Facebook to see if it could give me a good idea of who the casuals might vote for. And outside of Derek X, who is very popular, it's very split. I think the only surprising one, Facebook, very supportive of Derek F that I saw. So that could get Derek F into the $75 to maybe even $100 range. But I don't know. I think it's going to be Derek X and Tiffany for sure. And then it's going to be a battle between Claire, Hannah, Sarah Beth, even maybe even Alyssa for that third $100 person. And I also, one thing I didn't talk about yesterday that I wanted to talk about was Christian. I feel like Christian put up a hell of an effort to stay in this house. I respect that. He's the person that has fought the hardest to stay in this house while on the block on this show in a very long time. Christian was relentless trying to get the votes the last few days. Didn't fall his way. But respect to him for fighting so hard to stay in this game. I could tell he wanted it despite his weird interview with Julie. And honestly, let's be real. Christian's going to be casted on the boring ass challenge sometime in the future. He will definitely be on the challenge. But unfortunately, I feel like he's going to throw that goodwill out the window when he starts trying to do these things with fucking Frenchie and Brent in the coming days or weeks. And if he does that, you lie with pigs, then you get this bad reputation. So he might want to be careful with that. But on to the new HOH. Kyland is once again HOH. Apparently, they had a knockout competition that we didn't get to see on the episode. We missed drama. Apparently, Kylan kept choosing Azza to go in the knockout, which of course annoyed her, especially since towards the end she said she wanted it. Xavier agreed to throw it to her or Tiffany, but Kylan defeated Azza seemingly purposefully, telling her the excuse is that the whole house has targeted him and he's paranoid about the new powers or something to that effect. And then apparently he allegedly was going to throw it to Tiffany, but Tiffany hit the buzzer, got the wrong answer, so Kyland became the newest HOH. On one hand, I can say that he maybe needed it because he is a big target. But I feel like if he was going up this week against Sarah Beth, he would have been fine. But now winning HOH and apparently how it went around with the knockout competition, kind of sending the girls into the cookout, thinking that the guys in the cookout might be a little too into playing their personal games. Well, not Derek F. He doesn't have anybody. Frenchie's gone. So basically, Kylan and Xavier. Ozza and Tiffany actually had a talk. It was a little short, but they actually had a talk. But I feel like, Tiffany, will she actually try to mend that fence for real? She needs to. Jury has started. And there was a point in the night where Derek X finally, called Tiffany out a bit on her emotions over the last few days. Self-proclaimed not emotional player. Tiffany has been very emotional. Derek X giving her advice. Oh, how the tables have turned. He's giving her advice to take care of her emotions. So tonight, Tiffany went on a tour, basically an apology tour, talked to Sarah Beth, talked to Derek F, had that conversation with Azza. But I don't know if she could be consistent with it because everything we've seen so far from Tiffany in this game has screamed bad jury management. She really needs to turn that around, get her emotions out of the game, or at least the emotions that have been affecting her to be fucking rude to people on a daily basis. But yeah, we got that damage control out of Tiffany. Then we have, Xavier's been upset that he's lost Christian. I don't really get the game Xavier has been playing to be so attached to that stupid ass Kings team. Now he's lost Sarah's trust anyway, so he's really just has Alyssa. So he has no choice but to once again fall back on the cookout plan. Xavier's week has just been weird. In yesterday's video, I was half serious talking about now he's going to be sipping over Alyssa again. I still think he's really going to do that, though. Like, I'm half serious, but the half serious part of me feels that very strongly. Because Xavier, the guys in this game in general are getting on my fucking nerves. As much as I can sometimes loathe Tiffany's personality, and sometimes as fucking Brittany gets on my nerves, and all these times that Sarah Beth is sucking at the game, and Claire's doing fucking nothing, and Oz is having an emotional day and getting on my nerves. And Alyssa's just worthless, frankly. And then Hannah's the only one that never really upsets me. So I would love for Hannah to win the game, especially over some of these fucking guys. The egos, the condescending attitudes they have with the girls sometimes. I don't know why this always happens in these games, but it does. And that's why I really want a girl to win this season. But clearly, the girls this season cannot win an HOH to save their fucking lives. And they're going to have to win a few to win this game over the guys. I got off on a tangent here. I'll get back on it in a second. But Xavier has been upset that Derek X took out Christian, so he wants to take out Derek X very soon. But Tiffany kind of giving him a heads up, giving Derek X a heads up. Now Derek X kind of wants to target Xavier too, and he wants to see if Kylan nominates two Jokers, then he's going to think Kylan and Xavier are closer than he's suspecting. But Kylan wants to target Claire, which is an interesting thing because he's in a couple of different alliances with Claire. So I don't know how he's going to spin targeting Claire. And I think at first he wanted to put Claire and Tiffany on the block together, since that's been the plan to, get close to your person, be on the block with them. That person gets voted out. For Tiffany's sake, honestly, she needs this to happen right now. If they're going to get nominated together, she needs to be now, because the later it goes in the game, I think Tiffany would go over Claire. So it's not the worst thing for Tiffany right now, but she's clearly losing her person and she's going to spiral if this happens. But I don't know if Kylan would really put up Tiffany, but he promised Brittany. It seemed like he promised, but I don't know. Kylan talks in circles and can be annoying as fuck. He just had a conversation with Azza. I had to stop it because he was being condescending, clearly getting caught in some of his lies because Kylan just talks too much. Azza was asking him why during the competition he didn't seem to want to throw it to Azza, and then why after Azza was eliminated he said that the whole house is targeting him and that he's worried about the powers. But then in this conversation with Azza, he's not seemingly concerned with that anymore, and he's just not admitting that he was going for it. I don't know. All of these control freaks in the cookout, the control freaks being Kylan, Xavier, and Tiffany, I finally came to a realization because I've been trying to figure out who's really pulling the strings in the cookout. And the thing is, it's none of them. They all want to be, those three want to be pulling the strings in this game, but they're not. Kylan's probably the closest one because he thinks he's sly and can keep playing his personal game, but acting like he's totally cookout. And he is totally cookout. I believe him when he says he's putting the cookout over everything. including Sarah Beth, but he's also clearly still playing his personal game, and now he's getting caught in it, which is going to not only put a huge target on his back going forward, but also going to hurt him from pulling strings in the future. And I'm also wondering if Tiffany actually threw it herself, because as messy as Tiffany has been, she did not need to win this fucking HOH for her game. It would have been a complete fucking mess. So I do wonder if she actually threw the competition on purpose herself. Hannah and Azza have been having more game talks finally. Honestly, these two just need to realize they need to have a fucking trio with Derek X, and it needs to be soon. For all three of their games, they all need each other to have they need to get deeper in this game, at least final seven, I would say, at least probably a little more, to make their best chance of winning. I still think Hannah has I think Ozza does too, actually has a chance to win, because I don't know, maybe I'll get on the rankings over the weekend. But Hannah, I don't think the girls, if the cookout makes it to final six, everybody's saying a guy's going to win. And Xavier, they're handing Xavier the game. And while I do think Xavier has a great shot at that point, I'm not convinced that the girls don't have a shot, but they have to be on the same page. And Hannah and Oz are starting to be on the same page. If Tiffany would stop being rude and get her emotions in check and just stop being a fucking asshole and start actually having real game conversation with Azza and see that the women in the cookout need to stick together, then yes, a woman in the cookout has a good shot at winning in final six. But with these new twists, I don't see the cookout making it a final six. At least one cookout member is going in the next 3 weeks. But if the girls are smart, it's still a little soon for me. I think they need to give it an extra week, but I don't know if they can. Like at final 9, I would say this would be a good idea. Have Kylan and Sarah Beth on the block together, and then the girls get Kylan voted out. That's what the girls in the cookout need to do, but it's still soon. Final 10 to do that, I think. But final 9, final 8, I just don't know if Sarah Beth's going to survive that long to be able to do that. Because Kylan is still the one pulling the strings, but he's just growing his fucking target immensely. Basically, that's all I have today. Kylan was annoying as fuck. Xavier's been weird. Like, I don't want Kylan or Xavier to win over the women in the cookout if it comes down to that. Because Kylan's weird with women. He's condescending as fuck. And then Xavier has just been a fucking simp and a cuck, and he thinks he's pulling the strings this whole time when he hasn't been, and it's just been obnoxious. But I mean, they're still in great spots, so I'm not taking away from their game. I just would prefer a woman kickout member to win if it came down to that. Another scenario I'm great with, all of the two guys, Xavier and Kylan, thinking they're just so in control of this game. Take Derek F as a GOAT to the end, but Derek F isn't a GOAT and fucking beats them in the end. I would love that scenario too. But yeah, all the guys, including Derek X, everybody's beloved Derek X, can be fucking condescending with Hannah. And it's fucking weird and annoying because Hannah's smarter than him, period. But as it stands, I stopped watching, but Kylan wants to target Claire. I don't know how he's going to spin that to people, but we'll see. He's saying he's going to take the cookouts thoughts and tally them all up and see who the best target is for them this week. We'll see, because there's still tension in the cookout.